think we can all get down with the idea that we should be striving to learn from our mistakes. But why? How is it that learning from those really painful mistakes, the kinds that we just want to forget and that we hope no one ever discovers ever even happened, why is it important to learn from those mistakes? Well, in this video, I'm breaking down the answer to that question in 3 different ways. Let's get it. By the end of this video, you're going to have 3 different ways of looking at mistakes. Ways that, at a minimum, are going to help you be okay with making and learning from mistakes, and at best, help you become excited about making your next big mistake. Yup, I said it, excited. The first perspective is that mistakes pave our path to growth. So when I'm working with my executive team, and after we've either received a rejection of a proposal from a client, or we're going through a postmortem about a failure or a mistake that we made during a client engagement, once we've gotten through the understanding, once we've documented what it is that we can take from that mistake or that rejection, I so often state that this occurrence, this mistake, this failure, this rejection is a brick on our path to the next yes. And I truly believe that. But listen, if you get that rejection, if you make that mistake, make that failure, and you're not assessing what you can gain from it, what you've learned from it, what you should do differently moving into the future, then it's not really a brick. It hasn't really hit the path yet. You can't step on it to move yourself forward, right? So make sure that you're learning from that mistake. Once you've embodied the learning and actually found ways to then integrate that in your future work or your future dealings, the brick gets laid and you're enabled to step on it and move forward. Perspective number 2, mistakes have the power to build character. Making mistakes sucks, right? Let's just keep it real. We all know, especially those really big mistakes that other people actually see us making, especially those people that we care about, that we care what they think of us when they see us make those really big mistakes. It can inspire these really terrible, icky feelings, right? Feelings like embarrassment, like shame, like feeling stupid, like feeling like we're completely incompetent. And when these emotions are inspired, they invite us into our greatest opportunities to grow, to evolve, and ultimately to build our character. So this actually reminds me of a time that I was working in corporate and an established mentor had reached out recommending another mentor to help expand my network. And this individual's name was Kenyatta. And they made an email introduction to me and this individual, and I ran with it. And in my response, very exuberant, I was really excited about the potential of this person becoming my mentor, and I used she, her pronouns because I assumed that Kenyatta was a female or female identifying. And this individual actually was a male. And he corrected me and also stated to be cautious of making assumptions about individuals that you've yet to meet. And of course, he actually copied the person that made the email introduction, who was already a mentor of mine. And it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. I felt foolish. And I felt ignorant, and of course I was incredibly apologetic. But because of those emotions, and I feel them right now as I'm standing here talking to you, because of those emotions, it created this moment in time, this opportunity for me to become better, to build my own character. And from that moment on, I have never placed assumption on how someone identifies in their gender. And I just no longer make those assumptions because I learned from that. And it opened my mind to that unconscious bias that I had. And so I'm so grateful that he called my attention to the mistake, and that it was in such a way that it inspired those icky emotions because it had staying power. It stuck with me because of the way that it made me feel. So the more that we can embrace and recognize those really icky, horrible emotions that we feel with those really big mistakes, they invite us into opportunity to build our character, to think about, you know what, this is not how I want to show up in the world. So what can I do moving forward such that I don't make that mistake again and that my character grows as I evolve. By the way, you getting value from this? Talking about mistakes and the way that we trip and fall down and become embarrassed? Well, believe it or not, there's more content on this channel just like that. So make sure you subscribe so you'll be one of the ones to get the latest video when it drops. All right, let's get back into it. The third and final perspective is that mistakes are so often necessary. Okay, so maybe this is something you can get down with, and maybe it's not. Honestly, like straight up, you can take this or you can leave it. But I will tell you, as a person who has struggled with alcoholism, as a person who has fallen down countless times, I firmly believe that mistakes, are falling down and having the opportunity to get back up, is a necessity to get us where we want to go. I firmly believe that I would not have been able to nurture this idea that has now become a multi-million-dollar global consultancy if it wasn't for all the mistakes that I've made up until this point. And trust me, there have been a lot. And as soon as you subscribe, you'll hear them and you'll have the opportunity to hear about the many times I've fallen down and all the mistakes that I've made. But they've been, for me, I believe and trust, a necessity in order for me to learn what I needed to learn to get me to the next step. And honestly, this is perhaps my favorite perspective or paradigm when I think about mistakes. I see them as a necessary part of my growth, of my evolution. And if you're open to it, I would invite you into that same paradigm. Speaking of mistakes and embarrassment and falling down, I want to gift you something that's gonna arm you when you're in those moments, when you're feeling those icky emotions that are inspired when you've made a mistake or experienced failure. I actually want to gift you a chapter of my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm: How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. Now, this is a chapter that introduces this growth mindset that's rooted in those really icky emotions that we often feel when we've made mistakes. But it empowers you to choose how you show up in those moments and ultimately transform that icky emotion into fuel for your growth, for your evolution. And I want to gift you that chapter completely for free. All you got to do is click on the link below. I want to make sure you have the data, the research, the insights to accelerate your growth through even your greatest change challenges and in the face of your biggest mistakes. I'm Cassandra Worthy. And until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking.